Hello and welcome to the first of two discussions that we will have about products. And what we're now doing is starting to look at the four components of the marketing mix. So the first component that we will talk about is product, and then we'll do place, and then we'll talk about pricing, and then we'll finish up with promotion. So the product topic has two. There'll be two videos. This one and the second one. And this one will focus on product concepts, and the second video will focus on product management. And in this particular discussion, we will briefly define what we mean by a product, talk about types of products, talk about product mixes and product lines, and then conclude with a brief discussion of branding. Okay, so first thing we need to do is define what's meant by a product, and there's a lot of different definitions of a product. They're similar but not the same. The one that I like to use is products, anything of value to a customer that can be obtained through an exchange. So again, anything of value to a customer that can be obtained through an exchange. So products can be they can be goods, things like my wonderful little mouse here. That's a good. They can be services. So for example, I think some of you are accountancy majors, and some of you might, or many of you, because of the focus of John Carroll's program, will probably go into public accountancy, and there are CPAs, and a CPA provides a service. Places can be a product. You might not think of places as a product, but if you think about, you might have seen commercials for visiting Michigan, or maybe visiting Florida, or maybe visiting Las Vegas. So, again, there's a variety of different things that are products, and again, products refer to anything of value to a consumer that can be obtained through an exchange. Next thing we're going to look at briefly is different types of products, and there's four types of products, and we're going to focus on consumer products and not necessarily business to business or organizational products. So, and again, the focus there is because we're all consumers, and we're much more familiar with consumer products than we are with business to business type products. So one type of product is what's known as an unsought product, and that refers to a product that a customer doesn't know about or doesn't want to buy. And the part of the reason for talking about the different types of products, unsought, convenience, shopping, and specialty, are four types. One of the reasons we're talking about them is that these different types of products have distinct marketing implications. So, for example, an unsought product, which again is a product that people don't know about or they don't want to purchase, there's a real challenge with those because, A, if people don't know about a product, how are they going to buy a product? And second, if people don't want to purchase a product, how do you convince them to purchase a product? So there's a real challenge with unsought products in terms of just kind of like getting people interested enough to even consider purchasing the product. And so one example of an unsought product might be pet insurance. There's a lot of people that still don't know about pet insurance. Pet insurance is a much more mainstream policy than even 10 years ago. But there's a lot of people that just don't know about that kind of product. So one type of consumer product is an unsought product. The second type is a convenience product. And these are part of the products that are purchased frequently, immediately, and with a minimum of purchasing effort. And if you look at the four products that you're supposed to investigate for the major writing assignment in this class, those are all convenience products. And one of the things about convenience products from a marketing perspective is you tend to be able to find convenience products in a lot of different kinds of places. And, you can find them at, let's say, a grocery store. I mean, that's one of the objectives of this, or, one of the things about the assignment is you go to a grocery store, you go to a convenience store, you go to a discount store, you go to a drugstore, you go to an online store. You can find some of these products. You can even find them in vending machines. So, the convenience products, you can find these at a lot of different places. All right. So, again, a convenience product purchased frequently, immediately, and with a minimum of purchasing effort. Kind of a classic example is milk or soda or something of that nature. Third type of consumer product is what's known as a shopping product, and these refer to products where consumers compare price, quality, style, and other features. And again, consumers compare price, quality, style, and other features. And a really good example of shopping products is shoes, particularly if you go to a mall. And I know malls aren't as popular today as they were 15, 20 years ago. But if you go to malls, you will find that many malls have a number of different shoe stores. And part of it is that some of the stores may contain the same brands, but oftentimes the stores will contain similar brands, so that if you're, maybe you like Adidas and maybe you like an Adidas shoe, maybe you like a Nike shoe, but going to different stores, you might be able to get a sense for, well, here's what the Adidas is like, here's what the Nike is like, here's what the Reebok's like, here's what the different styles are, here are what the prices are. So again, a shopping good refers to one where consumers compare price, quality, style, and other factors. And then a fourth type of product is what's known as a specialty good or specialty product. And I'm going to deviate a little bit from the definition of the book, and my definition is these are items for which a customer is willing to look for a specific brand. And these tend to be, the thing with specialty goods or specialty products, these tend to be really higher end products. And so one of the things with specialty goods or specialty products is that you oftentimes, as a marketer, you can charge a premium for this product. So, for example, if you think about an automobile, Lamborghini would be a more of a specialty good. A Chevy would be more of a shopping product. And because sometimes if you're thinking of Chevy, first of all, you think of these auto miles that exist in Northeast Ohio. If you're familiar with Northeast Ohio, that's kind of a classic shopping thing. You might say, well, I want to get this kind of a car, and maybe you go to a Ford dealership and you see a Ford, and then you go to a Chevy dealership and see a similar car from Chevy, and then maybe go to a Chrysler dealership and see a similar car from Chrysler. So again, specialty product refers to items for which a consumer is willing to look for a specific brand. And one of the keys, again, with specialty goods is that you tend to be able to price them much higher than any of the other three types of products that we talked about. Next thing that we're going to spend a little bit of time on is product mix and product line. I kind of think your book has it backwards. Your book talks about product mix before it talks about product line. I like to talk about product lines before product mixes because you'll find out why. So a product line refers to a set of items that are related because they function, because they function in a similar manner and are sold in similar places. So again, a product line refers to a set of items that are related because they function in a similar manner and they're sold in similar places. So, an example of a product line would be if you think about Procter & Gamble and its laundry detergents. And so what you will find is Procter & Gamble has a number of different brands of laundry detergents, and you can go in and you can see that they're sold in the similar kinds of stores and things of that nature. Product mix refers to all the products and all the product lines of the firm. So that's why I like to talk about product lines, because to define a product mix, you need to know what a product line is. And so the product mix is just all the products and all the product lines that are offered for sale by a firm. And so if you think about Procter & Gamble, it would be literally every product in every product line that Procter & Gamble offers for sale. I'm going to say a little more about that in a couple of minutes. And so there's several issues, and your book does a nice job. There's several issues associated with product mix. There's the concept of breadth, and that refers to the number of different product lines that an organization offers. And actually, what Procter & Gamble has done through the years is it's gotten it. When I first started teaching principles of marketing, and I used Procter & Gamble as my example, Procter & Gamble had a ton of different product lines, self-characterized, and now it has a much narrower, much smaller number of product lines. One of the challenges is that some of the things that it considers in a particular product line might not necessarily kind of fit the description as well as that particular product line. But the breadth refers to the number of different product lines that an organization has, whether it's 4 or 5 or 7 or 10 or whatever. Another concept is depth, which refers to the variety of sizes, colors, and models in a product line. And I think a really good illustration of this is if you were to go to the Procter & Gamble website and you were to look up just Tide, just one product that Procter & Gamble offers, which is Tide laundry detergent, you would be absolutely stunned to find the number of different sizes, the number of different fragrances, the distinction between liquid and solid. There's just tremendous Procter & Gamble has tremendous product depth in its laundry detergents just with respect to Tide. In terms of the number of sizes, the different types of products, from not a flavoring but a fragrance, because there's Tide with Febreze and there's Tide with Downy and all sorts of things like that. So there's breadth, there's depth, and there's also what's known as product mix consistency, and that refers to the relatedness of different product lines, and essentially what product line consistency refers to is how well do the products fit together. And Procter & Gamble is actually another interesting example with respect to consistency, because in early July of this year, July of 2015, Procter & Gamble announced that it was spinning off a number of its beauty brands to include CoverGirl and Max Factor and a number of others, actually. And one of the reasons for this is that Procter & Gamble had come to the conclusion that it didn't get a lot of synergy between the brands that it's spinning off and some of its other brands, in part because the brands that it's spinning off, like CoverGirl and Max Factor and things of that nature, they tend to be sold in department stores, whereas things like Head & Shoulders, which is a brand that Procter & Gamble is keeping, it tends to be sold more in mass merchandisers, and so Procter & Gamble couldn't get a lot of synergy between distributing through mass merchandisers and distributing through department stores. So again, consistency is, how well do the products fit together. Okay, so we've talked about what is meant by a product. We've talked about types of products. We've talked about product mix and product line. And the final thing we're going to spend a little bit of time on is branding. And branding refers to a name, a term, design, or symbol that identifies a product. So again, a brand refers to a name, a term, design, or symbol that identifies a product. And one of the things with brands is that brands offer value for both buyers and sellers. So what brands can do from a seller's perspective is brands can reduce the dissonance that we talked about in the consumer behavior discussion. So you say, well, how does it reduce dissonance? Well, you just hear, like if you're thinking of aspirin, perhaps, you hear Bayer, B-A-Y-E-R, right? Bayer aspirin, Bayer aspirin. I feel so much better because, it's Bayer. Or if you're thinking, insurance, Allstate, you're in good hands with Allstate, right? Ooh, so there's value from a consumer's perspective or a buyer's perspective, because brands can reduce dissonance. Brands can also be helpful or add value from a seller's perspective, because sellers can oftentimes protect their brands. They can protect their brand names, they can protect their brand symbols and things like that with either trademarks or registration or things of that nature. So there's potentially legal protection for brands. I'd like to conclude the discussion of brands by looking at a couple of concepts that the book talks about. One is the brand ownership topic, and that is that one of the aspects of brands ownership looks at so-called manufacturer brands versus private brands. And a manufacturer brand is exactly what it sounds like. It's a brand that has the manufacturer's name on it. So if you think, if we go back to aspirin, Bayer aspirin is a manufacturer's brand. A private brand would be as if you go to CVS or Walgreens and there's a store brand. There might be, there's CVS aspirin, there's Walgreens aspirin, and there's a lot, this discussion of brand ownership is fascinating, because if you think about it, or if you know anything about the manufacturer's brands versus private brands, in a number of situations the private brands are actually manufactured by a well-known manufacturer. So one of the classic examples of that is if you go to Sears and you buy Kenmore appliances, if you buy a Kenmore washer, a Kenmore dryer, Kenmore, Kenmore refrigerator. Many of the Kenmore appliances are made by Whirlpool, which is a brand name white goods manufacturer. And so you might be wondering, you say, well, why would Whirlpool manufacture stuff to be sold under a name other than Whirlpool? Well, and the answer comes down to the fact that in many product categories, there are distinct segments, going back to that whole segment stuff, there are distinct segments of customers who have what are known as different price points. And so, for example, if you think about refrigerators, there are people who will have no problem paying the brand name price for a refrigerator. However, there are people who, if you say to them, okay, it's going to cost you, in fact, I just had to do this last week, my refrigerator at home went kaplooey. I opened up the freezer and all this water came out, and I'm like, this is not good. So I had to go out and buy I had to go out and buy a refrigerator. And I paid roughly $900 for the refrigerator. Well, some people say, you're an idiot. Who pays $900 for a refrigerator? However, there are people who would say, well, I can't afford $900. $900 is too much, but I want a refrigerator that's that size and does these certain things. Well, that's where the private label comes in, because oftentimes what happens is the private labels are sold at a lower price than the brand names. And so there are different price points, and there may be multiple price points. And in fact, I did consulting work for a company, a white goods manufacturer. I'm not allowed to, I signed a note. Nobody knows. I can never use the company's name. That's the contract that I signed when I did the work for them. But they actually sold the same appliances under 3 distinct names. One was a brand name, and then there were 2 private labels, and they had 3 distinct price points. And so there's price sensitivity there. So the brand ownership idea, the manufacturer brands versus the private brands, is one thing. And then a second thing that the book talks about with respect to brands is the concept of brand extension, and that's where a brand name is applied to different product lines. And there's a lot of issues associated with brand extension as well. And so if you think about stuff, Nike originally started, it made running shoes, but if you look at Nike now, there's Nike's big into golf now, so there's like Nike golf clubs, there's Nike golf balls, there's Nike clothing, and things of that nature. And so It's good if you got a really strong brand name. Some people say, well, branch out and expand kind of your scope. But there are risks there, there are potential risks there as well, because if the area that you expand into, you're a flop. You not only might be a flop in that area, but you might also, the flop in that area may kind of bleed back and draw sales away from kind of your original products or your original brand name products. So clock on the wall says, Murphy, you've talked enough. So we'll see you for the next discussion of product management. Bye for now.